Hi, welcome to Dice Club in Nottingham. I'm Steve.
I'm Jonathan Hicks.
And I'm Mark Windle.
And we are continuing on with my top 30 games of all time. My last video was 30 down to 21. If you haven't seen that, go and have a look now. But this video, I'm going to talk about my favourite games from number 20 down to number 11. Off we go.
Number 20.
So my number 20 was nominated for Game of the Year about 3 years ago. It is effectively a hand management game, and that is Concordia. So in Concordia, you are effectively expanding in the Mediterranean. Trading in the Mediterranean seems to be this generic themed, pasted on theme that a lot of Euro games have. But this, I think, as a game, manages it very well. The theme is slightly negligent in terms of how well the game plays, and basically on your turn you take a card, you play it, you do that thing, and you pass it on. And those turns are very quick. In Concordia, if everyone knows what they're doing, you can have a very quick game that can speed up as the game goes on, and it ends very quickly. So you don't really feel like it's like a slog there. You can have a 5-player game and it goes very quick. Effectively, you're trying to expand, and every time you build a city in a place, every time that place activates resources, every person who's got a city in that place will get that resource. So I might build a trading post on a wheat space, and whenever someone activates that, I'll get some wheat. So you can you gain stuff by working together with other people, kind of building the same place as them. But you also gain stuff if you go off to yourself, kind of top up on that place, building every bit in that region, and you can start activating that yourself. So you kind of got to weigh that up. But I quite like the way the scoring works. Effectively, to score, you can score different things, but it depends on which cards you get. So if I want to score points for the different regions I'm in, I need to get the blue cards. If I want to score points for the different types of cities I've got, I need to get the brown cards. And at the end of the game, they kind of multiply out. So if I have 4 brown cards and 5 different cities, I will get 40 points for those sorts of things. So you can kind of tailor your strategy. What you're doing well at, you can try and acquire those cards. Whoever does that the best wins.
This game rides on its mechanics because the theme is really not there. And even describing it's like we've got the brown cards and the blue cards, and you don't care what is on the cards. But actually, it could only be a good game because it is very popular despite being so dry, and all those mechanics do fit together really well. It is really engaging. It can be quick if everyone knows what they're doing. I've played slow games though. It can suffer
that's
a
not
bit.
the game's fault.
No, that's right. If you've got players prone to AP, that can be an issue. It can really slow down the game. But the game itself is a really good
I love the pick of what cards do I want to add to my hand to improve my hand, what's the best, while balancing out what do I want to score. And I think those two things work together and against each other, because what you want to score might not work with what you need right now.
You've got to balance the number of cards you get with the stuff you do on the board, because you get points for getting stuff out on the board. That's where you get your points. So you get your people out, your colonists, your cities in different places, your cities in different terrains. But if you just do that and you don't acquire any more cards, you'll score very minimal points. If you just acquire cards and don't get any stuff out, you will score very minimal points. If people expand before you while you're buying cards, you find expanding becomes more costly. So you've just got to pace it so well. There's so many expansions as well. It's so easy just to get another map, double-sided map, and get it out.
Nice.
I have got the Salt expansion, but I don't think it needs it. I have played with it, but I think the base game's fine by me.
I like the expanding on the map thing, and I quite like the getting the cards to make your deck better, if you like. What I'm not very good at that is combining the expansion with the right cards to get the points. That's where it's tricky. And that's what makes it so interesting, I guess, and why I'd happily come back and play it again and again and again, despite it being so dry, because there is that whole kind of puzzle, how do I best maximise these two things?
If the game's dry, have a look at the box. The box is just...
There's a new box cover. It's a little bit better.
It's a little red instead of green.
They've made the art bit. I thought this would be higher up on your list.
Yeah, I did as well, actually.
I was surprised it's only 19.
Okay, that's 20, I think.
20.
19 is...
Number 19.
So 19 is my second new game from this year. Actually, it might have been released last year on a Kickstarter or a print and play, but is a social deduction game that I think since playing it has beaten lots of other social deduction games, and that is Secret Hitler. And I understand the theme isn't for everyone, but I think it has, it's not for quite a lot of people, but I think if you just kind of negate the fact that the only reason Hitler counts is if he becomes Chancellor after a certain point. You are not Nazis as such. You are fascists and liberals and or whatever. That could just necessarily, it could be any two political parties and stuff. For the only thing, if you ignore that bit, it's brilliant. I think it beats. It's got the bit of Dark Moon that I like. The bit where the two good guys making this policy can fail it because they just draft liberal policy.
Yeah, that's nice.
And that one bit casts doubt on everyone. That bit where you're a good guy, but you can't help but fail the mission, and people know you've failed the mission, and you just go, "That's all my hard choices. Isn't that the only choice I had?" And Mark goes, "Yeah, it is." And they go, "Maybe they're both in on here." Or maybe Mark's in it, he's only passed me bad ones. And I just think it's great. I think I've played it quite a lot recently and I've really, really engaged with it. It might end up dropping down a bit because it just doesn't get to play. But for me, it's better than Avalon, it's better than Resistance, it's better than Dark Moon, it's better than all these other ones for that reason.
Thinking about it, as a social deduction game, I think it is better than all those other ones you mentioned. But the theme I find quite off-putting. And if you re-themed it to something that engaged me, I think I'd love it. It is. I can see it's a really good game, but the artwork I find off-putting as well, and I play it like, oh, okay. But then you kind of get into the mechanics like, oh yes, the actual, when you're playing the people and trying to work out whose side they are, or they're telling the truth, etc. It's really engaging. And as you say, the idea that two people could both combine and do a bad thing, even though they're both good. That's great.
And that's a possibility. It's not that happens infrequently. It happens like at least once per game. Someone's good and they can't help but kind of pass lots of.
It's just so weighted against it, isn't it? With the balance of the deck, that it's going to happen. I agree. It's much better. Well, I prefer it to Avalon and the Resistance stuff.
I think
it's just a more solid game.
It feels quicker.
Yes, it is quicker, I think.
And I don't know why, because it feels like you've got the same number of choices or missions. I guess there's just less arguing.
Yeah, I can't really work out why either, but it is definitely quicker.
Number 18.
My next game is another, I think it's my 3rd out of 4 game that's been released this year. And that is my only heavy Euro of the lot, and it's a game I've absolutely loved. I've played it 3 times now, and that's Yokohama.
Yeah.
I assume you thought this would be
I was
on
just
the
about to say that.
Yeah. So Yokohama is Istanbul, the Euro game. I know Istanbul's the Euro game, but this is much heavier. It's just... I know some people do not like it, some people it's too dry, I think the theme is just not there, but what you can do on your turn, there's just so many choices, and the fact that you're planning several moves ahead, you're putting workers down that will lead you to action spots you need to take, but the more workers you have down on that spot before you get there, the better the action will be. You're just trying to do all these things, you're trying to acquire goods to complete contracts, you're trying to get technologies that allow you to do certain actions better, you're trying to collect crates of goods so you can get yourself points on the commerce track, you're trying to get lots of different goods so you can get points on the trade track, you're trying to complete the objectives. It's just a very solid game. If you like any of the heavy themeless Euros I've mentioned so far and you haven't played this, please do so, it's excellent.
Yeah. No, Steve's right there. If you're going to know if you like this kind of game, it is as good as any of those other kind of heavy themeless Euros, as he says. I just can't see this having any longevity with me personally. I've played it a few times now, and I've enjoyed it every time, but it's one of those, when you ask me now about playing it, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, fine, I'll get into it, but it's just nothing that really draws me in, and I think that's the theme again. It's the same old thing, but it's just very dry.
See, I'm still trying to hunt down a sensible price deluxe edition of it, because I like it enough that I'd sell my existing copy to replace with that.
I feel like I might be with Jonathan here, that I might have not solved it as such, but got all what I need to get out from the game. I wonder if because Istanbul, I think, I've played Istanbul enough times, I don't think I necessarily, although I do mind playing it, I'd play it again. I think this might happen with Yokohama, I'm not sure.
With Istanbul, it's short enough, and you can play it with non-gamers, but Yokohama, it's a big investment of time, and I can think of other things I'd rather play, I suppose.
Yeah, it's my... Up until today, this is a spoiler, up until today, it's my best game of the year. I've played a game today that's better.
Oh,
So we'll see.
All right.
Number 17.
So my next game was Game of the Year last year. It is a team game where you're trying to pass on secret coded words to your teammates using one word and one number, and that's Codenames. And I think Codenames works well with whoever you play it with. I think there are some gamers who don't like it, they'll avoid it, but nearly anyone else you play it with will like it. I've played it with my family, I've played it with non-gamers, I've played it with kids at school, and it has just gone down so well. I think if the only people who ever have problems with it are people who take too long, you just put a timer on them. I think it's just brilliant. I think, and I'm actually going to disagree with a lot of people here in that I think the word game is so much better than the pictures game. I don't rate the pictures game very much at all. I think the word game is brilliant, so I'm talking about Codenames the word game, and the picture game doesn't get a look in. But if you haven't heard of Codenames, I don't know where you've been. Codenames is brilliant, try it.
You like word games though, don't you? Like I quite happily play either the picture version or the word version. It doesn't make much difference to me, but you just prefer word games generally, I think.
I think with the picture one, you can say words that's on the picture, and it's not against the rules.
Okay, yeah.
So you know, if I've got a one thing, there's a dog there. I'm just dog one.
Yeah, but again, you're never going to win if you're calling one.
Correct, but you can. There's no scope to get that wrong. And there's effectively you've got on each picture's two things, and that's it, and that's all you've got to link to everything else. The
word game feels more dangerous. I think it's easier to accidentally connect to because so many of the words have double meanings or even triple meanings.
Yeah,
it's very easy to accidentally connect. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I think I prefer to play with non-gamers after playing enough with gamers. But I think, but on the other hand, that isn't going to stop it being played with a lot of non-gamers. It's one of those games that you can just play with literally everybody and they'll get it.
Yeah,
people who try to game it will ruin it.
Yeah,
and that's what you've got to avoid.
I found I think for a while I preferred the picture, but the more I'm kind of going back towards the word version now. I don't know why. I think just taste change over time. I think I played the word version more recently with people, so that sort of brought it back. Well, for a time, the pictures was the hot version of it, if you know what I mean, because that had been released later. But to be honest, I've not played it here in ages, which is probably part of the reason I'm enjoying it more at the moment.
I played it 2 weeks ago, though, again with non-gamers. It went down really well. They loved it. Wanted to play it again straight away.
Yep.
Number 16.
So my next game is my other game on this list, which divides opinion. I think the other game was in my last 10 and my 30 to 21, and that was Sleuth. The other game that kind of people either will or will not play will be Ricochet Robots. And I love Ricochet Robots. You need that sort of mind for it, though. It's a bit like Sleuth. It's very logical, very analytical, you'll either see it or you won't. And if you won't see it, you won't score. And that's the issue with the game. But if you like that sort of thing, if you like this program, if you like kind of the visual aspect of trying to plan out routes using one or more, and that's where it gets challenging, robots, Ricochet Robots is for you. It's time-paced, action-packed, time-paced, and you're just trying to get it the fastest or getting the best route to get your robot to the goal by only moving it left, right, up or down.
With the right group, I think it's great, and I do really enjoy playing it. But if you've got a mismatch in abilities, it can just be miserable for some people. Like if you're playing it with 3 other people who are all significantly better than you, you just won't get a look in at all. You'll start looking and go, okay, I'm struggling to see, and then they call out and I say, what already? I can't even get close to that.
I've got 11 and you've got 4.
Yeah. But it's very clever, and I think the more you play it, obviously the better you're getting at it, and then you start to see ways of moving the robots and using them with each other that you don't see the first few times you play, so it's a very good game.
Strange enough, I don't particularly like the game, but the company made it. I think it's like last year they kept on releasing weekly puzzles to do it. So I enjoyed that much more.
Yeah. Okay.
I enjoyed seeing that I can sit there and just do it.
It's a solo problem, but you can play it.
I like the problem's fine. It's the competition. I just don't enjoy the competition. But I suspect the players I play against here, who are the sort of players who play are very good at it.
I would consider myself very good, and I could pick 2 or 3 people in this cafe who I would not have a look at, like Jonathan said, just significantly better than me. Matt's one, Anxious another. I might get the odd one. I might get one before them. I've got the same route as them, and I just managed to see it first. But
I suppose it's just the same. I don't know if it's on your list, but chess. If you play against somebody who's much better, it's just not. There's no game.
But this is the sort of game. This is the sort of game you need to play with the right sort of crowd. It's not. It would never be anyone's. It would never be my number one because to be competitive at it, you need to play against people in your skill band. If you play with people too low or too high, it's not fun for either.
Yeah.
Number 15.
So my next game is another social deduction game, and it's a social deduction game that eliminates some of the things I don't like about others, and that is deception, or CS Files as the original's called. And deception is a game where, a bit like in Avalon, the murderer wakes up with the accomplice, they know who they are, the witness is the Merlin, they know who other people are. But basically when the murderer wakes up, they pick a weapon and a motive, or a weapon and a means, so that is what the rest of the good guys are trying to work out, that combination. Not either one, that specific combination. And what I like about this more than other games is there's a forensic and lead scientist. Forensic investigator who knows who the bad guys are, who the witness is, and what the answer is, and they can't say anything. And they're trying to relay the information to the good guys in such a way that the witness isn't outed and they get that specific combination. But each person in the game has got one guess. And once that guess is up, and if they haven't got it by then, the bad guys win. And you think, oh, why just one guess? But even if they get it right, the bad guys still have a chance to pick out Merlin. So I think when you play...
The witness.
The witness, that's what I meant, yeah. Effectively, so they have that one shot to get them back as well. So it's really hard for the good guys to do well. Okay, but yet they seem to do quite well. I think what I like about it is there's less argument.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a discussion. Effectively, you're like, could be that, it could be that, and everyone's doing this. You're not it's clearly you. Oh, stop lying. You're not doing any of that you do get in some of these other ones where you can get quite slightly aggressive sometimes. But you're just saying there. And then what happens at certain points? The lead investigator, forensic scientist, will say, "I'm gonna stop you. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?" And people just say, well, it's probably that one, or I'm not ssure yet, or whatever, and they give their thoughts, and people have like an opportunity to say what they think without any sort of argumentative backlash, and I quite like that. And that's why I rate it higher than those other sort of games.
I think it's a great social deduction game, and possibly my favourite. And I think a lot of it is because in many social deduction games you don't have very much information to go on. So you necessarily have to make wild accusations because you've got to get something going. Whereas with this one, it feels like there's lots of information there, and you have to carefully puzzle it out based on the clues that have been given. And that's why it feels, I think, calmer and, for me, much more enjoyable.
The forensic scientist can work with the witness. The witness can go, well, that's making me think that. And then if the lead investigator takes that away and puts something else in, the witness knows that it's not what that, and it's the other person who knows.
Okay.
And so you've got to use that. You've got to use the witness if you're finding it hard. If the clues aren't very helpful to you, you've got to use the witness. And I think that's, when you get to know the skill of the game, that kind of improves it for you.
Yeah, we did the review of it recently, I'm not sure it's posted yet, and I said it's my favourite party social deduction game, and that stands.
It's my highest on my list so far.
I mean, for you got higher. I know I can think what yours are, but for me, it's my preferred social deduction party game. It's
very good. It's just the social deduction games, a bit like Secret Hitler and this that have come out recently, just get better. They won't be released now if they're not at least as good as the previous ones.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Number 14.
So my next one is another race against the clock game, and I've had a few of these on this list, but this is probably the one that generates the most fun when you do badly at it, and that's Galaxy Trucker. I've heard Galaxy Trucker being explained as two halves, one good, one bad of an okay game. I think they're both great. I think building your ship is the bit I like the best. I think I like the race against the clock. I like the manic kind of speed. I like doing that well. And the second bit is to see if your ship survives. Even if you've got a good ship, it might not. If you've got a bad ship, it almost certainly won't, or at least won't. And you go through space and you're trying to pick up cargo, fighting off pirates, delivering goods, finding money as you're kind of trying to get to your destination, trying to make it back in one piece. And invariably, people don't. And that's why I think it's a great game. And I don't necessarily mind coming dead last in this game, because if I've come dead last, I know I've had a laugh, because everyone's been laughing at how badly my ship's fallen apart as it's gone.
I didn't think you would like it this much. I think it's a great game. But it didn't make my top 30. But yeah, I really enjoy it.
I will always happily play it.
Every time I play this, I have a great time.
I think I need to play more with the base game, because I seem to, every time I play it, I seem to have every time the world. And it's quite nice sometimes to simplify it, just to keep the
base game's fine.
Yeah.
So you need
the problem is the people who bring it seem to want to let's do everything in this game.
Well, I struggle though because I'm so used to playing with all the expansions now. That when I play the base game, I'm like, okay, I'm going to save this piece.
Yeah.
Hang on, this piece isn't even there. Where's the piece gone? Oh, we're not playing with that expansion.
But it's stuff like the Death Star board where it wraps around and starts confusing with your head. I like it in all forms. Sometimes there's just so much to it. But yeah, you just have to take it as it is. It's going to go wrong for you. That's the best bit. If you don't realise that it going wrong is the best bit, you're not going to enjoy the game.
Yeah, if you're too precious about the ship that you've built, you're not going to have a good time.
Number 13.
So my next game is back to the heavy Euro-ish, but this is Euro-esque. I think it's got a bit of fighting in there, and it's set in revolutionary Russia in a different universe, and that is Scythe. Scythe is enough of a Euro that I would consider it a Euro because it's got the core of the game is its engine builder. There's a tiny bit of combat, there's a tiny bit of expansion, but the engine building aspect of it is what makes Scythe a great game. I think it looks very nice, but in terms of on your turn you've got 4 actions. You can't do the one you've just done, so you've got 3 actions, and you just pick one of them and do it. But next turn, then you pick a different one, and a different one, and a different one. You move around, make resources, use the resources to do stuff, use the stuff to improve your actions, and you're trying to effectively hit certain victory conditions and increase your popularity so you score as many points as you can by the end of the game. I think it's just a fantastic engine building Euro game.
I can't get my head around whether or not it's a Euro or not, to be honest. It obviously incorporates quite a lot of Euro mechanisms, but it doesn't feel like a Euro to me.
Hybrid, isn't it?
It's called a hybrid, but I don't care.
I think the engine's stronger than the rest of the game, I agree. The bit that happens on your board and optimising that against your plan is more stronger than the other bits.
A teeny bit of fighting. Objectives can be Euro or...
I really like the exploration bits, where you're trying to rush to get to the adventures, and they give you a bit of choice. There's so many really nice little things in there. Certainly that engine building thing I think is the strongest, but it's not that it's much better than all the other bits. I think there's lots of other really nice bits in there as well. The whole package.
It's maybe not better, it's definitely stronger. It's the bit that makes the game for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, I think we all agree that's a great game.
Oh yes.
Number 12.
My next game is by a small designer called Stefan Feld, and it is a dice placement game. It is Bora Bora. And in Bora Bora you're on these tropical islands, and you've got 3 dice. You can do 3 things, but you need to do 7 things. You need to acquire people in your village so you get more bonus actions. You need to get resources so you can build your buildings and get more bonus actions. You need to put priests on the priest track to get more bonus actions. You need to expand so you can get more people in your village and therefore get more bonus actions. It's about managing all these different things, and it's such a complicated game to get your head around in terms of doing well at it. It's very easy to see, I can place this dice here and do that. But how will that actually help you get your tasks? Okay, and you've got to build to these tasks, you've got to make sure you get some shells to buy the jewelry, you've got to think about tattoos so that you don't get left with a really bad task next time. And there's just so many things that I love about this game, and it just fits together so well. The theme is slightly more there than other games, but the theme is irrelevant for me, effectively. It's all about the actions and the mechanics. It looks garish.
I don't mind
that. It's fine. It's bright, it's tropical, it's just, it's garish. But yeah, I think mechanically it's one of his best games, and I really do like it.
It's colourful, but they're quite pastel shades, so it's not, I don't find it garish in that sense. It's very tight.
I'm not sure what you go with the design art-wise for that sort of game though, without... It's a Euro game, you can't get it super high-coloured, otherwise it'd look sick.
Yeah,
be lots of yellows and greens.
Have you not seen that, Isla?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm surprised. I guess I have to wait and see if there are any other Stefan Feld games on your list. I'm surprised it's not higher.
Yeah, I thought it would be higher.
We'll see what's there. It's so tight.
Yes.
That's what I really like about it. As you say, you've got all these different things you can do, and you're never going to manage all of them. And you've got to decide, am I better off going on the priest track or better off building? It's like there's tension all the way through about wanting to do more than you can.
You know that somebody's going to do you in by placing a dice that you really wish they hadn't placed. Just,
There's an element of looking at what other people are doing as well.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going down a building strategy, so he's going to want to put his dice here. I'm going to maybe go somewhere else so I've got more space. That works well.
Number 11.
My last game in this video is my number 11, and it is the last game I've played this year, and I played it today. I'd actually played it once before, and I didn't realise how much I'd like it. I played with Jonathan at the Expo, and it's 2-player Codenames. It's Codenames Do It. And until I played it today, my list was different. I've actually dropped a game off and put this on because I think, with more time playing it, I think the gap between this and Codenames will expand. I think I'll either stop playing Codenames because Duet's so good, or Duet will get even higher. I think it's just brilliant. I think the fact that you can play it with 3 people as well, you can do 1 versus 2, and you're cooperating. The skill in Codenames, a bit I like about the Codenames, is not beating the other team, it's coming up with good clues that get you 2 or 3.
That's true.
I don't want to have to wait for my other team, because when the other team's on, you kind of sit back. When my partner's thinking, is he going to give me a clue? And I'm going to have to think about things. I need to be thinking ahead. But when you're playing, especially when you are guessing in regular Codenames, you can be sat there doing not much. Well, you can't in this. You need to be thinking about your next clue. You need to be thinking about the clue your partner's currently given you. You need to be thinking about the fact that you're going to have some crossovers. And I recommend, if you do like Codenames and haven't liked Codenames Do It, I think Codenames Do It will be better than Codenames throughout anywhere. I think, unless you do it for the party aspect of it, I think it's a better game.
I never really thought about it, but effectively it's eliminating the downtime in Codenames, isn't it? Because it's always your turn every turn. Yeah.
And part of some of the reasons that people don't like Codenames is the downtime. Is people gaming the system. But your partner is there. You are working together. You can't.
You need them to play as well as possible.
Sometimes, especially when you play with family members, where your mum kind of gives a clue she's not allowed to give because she either wants to win or whatever, you don't get that. You understand as a partner, you kind of ask, am I allowed to give a 2-word clue? And you'll just say no, you'll work together. And if you win by kind of going down that route and you want to play house rules, that's fine, that's up to you. You're not going to spoil it for the people, you're not going to say something that's going to offend anyone. And I sometimes like cooperative games for that reason. I think it's great. I've only played 2 games of it today, and I played 1 game of the Expo, and already it's right up there, because I know I'm going to like it.
Okay, I look forward to playing it some more.
And that is my 20 down to 11. If you have any comments about the way I've ordered my videos or what I've said about them, pop them in the description down below. But if you thought they were good, there are 10 more next week that are going to be even better and maybe even drier. Tune in next time. I've been Steve at the Dice Cup. Thanks very much.